Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's live in the Exponentialized group. And today I'm going to be talking a little bit about X-Men and relationships. It's quite a funny topic to me because, most X-Men don't fit anywhere, and relationships is definitely not an exception. Um, a lot of you who have been in relationships or are in a relationship or have experience in the past with creating relationships might have realized that you're a little bit different to everyone. So hello, if you're joining, welcome. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that today. I myself am in a relationship with my partner of 10 or more years now. And yeah, it's been lots of different things, and definitely it's one of those things that I would say is changing all the time. But what one thing that X-Men are very different with in relationship is they tend to take things very literally. So I remember one of the when I was a young man, and I first started going out with girls. There was one time that one girl said to me, I we were on a bus and we were like on a school camp or something, and she said, "I love you," and I said to her, "Don't say shit you don't mean." And I look back at it now and I'm like, I can't believe I said that to that poor sweet girl. But at the time, for me, it was like um, it didn't actually have like an energetic congruence to it. It wasn't like it wasn't. Maybe it was real and true for her, but it definitely wasn't real and true for me, and it didn't seem like it was real and true for her. So you know, might not have been my best choice, poor thing, but it was it was very funny as well because later I kind of judged myself a lot for that, and then later in life I realized, well, yeah, that was me being an X-Men and being bluntly honest, and a lot of X-Men will be bluntly honest in relationship and not really realize how that might actually like affect the person that you're with, or your partner, or your friend, or whoever it is in your life. But it provides for some funny stories later, that's for sure. Um, a few of you would know I've been watching this series called The Good Doctor, and it's about an autistic doctor who's training to be a surgeon, and he has a few different relationships, and there are very many hilarious things in his relationship. For example, he creates like a survey to ask his girlfriend of what are her religious preferences. Does she want to have kids in the future, and if so, how many? And he's literally got like a checklist, and he's going through the checklist, and like as if it's like a job interview or something. So X-Men are very different, and it can be very funny. um, One of the other things that you might notice is that, like, as an X-Men, you're either like head over heels and fully in, or you're fully out and you're like not much in between. And this is pretty much how X-Men function. We function a lot from the extreme of things, whether it's extremely in or extremely out, but not much of that sort of like middle ground. So that's another thing to be just aware of, is that if you're going to do something, you're probably going to do it with all your might, and you're probably not going to hold back. And yes, you might get hurt, and yes, you might fall in love, and yes, it might be a whole lot of other things, but it's like, just know that about you, you're going to go for it. What else did I want to talk about? There's something really different with communication with X-Men, and if you are an X-Men that is desire, like if you're creating a relationship with someone who isn't an X-Men, it's like it's you've got to be super super aware of the different way that you communicate, because most X-Men think that if they thought something, that means that um, the other person is going to be aware of what's going on. But you actually need to have this place where you find out what kind of communication works for that person, and then also deliver that. So things can get very confusing. A lot of X-Men are also extremely OCD, and they want things exactly how they want them, and they know that that's the right way to have them. Like, hello, don't you know the toilet paper goes this way, not that way? Or, you don't squeeze the toothpaste from the middle, you squeeze it from the end. Or, the glasses have to line up in the cupboard just like this. And it's like those are all of these things that, X-Men can be extremely uncompromisable on because they have OCD, and they're like, oh my God, if it's out of place, it's going to be giving me a problem all night. I'm going to be thinking about it all night. So, all of these funny things that, we do. And it's one of the things is if you can start to look at your relationship from the place of it not being serious, but like how much fun can you have with it, and how much fun can you have laughing at the idiosyncrasies that you have, the idiosyncrasies that your partner has. And if you can make a joke of it, then it's like everything gets lighter and everything gets easier. And those things that you tend to nitpick on that you think are so big and that sort of like, boil into this bigger issue, they're not going to be an issue if you can actually laugh at it. You'll be able to come to some agreement where you can both have something that works for you, if you're, just willing to talk about it from this place of having fun. And sometimes there's going to be things that you just don't agree on. Like, for one thing, for example, is I don't fold clothes the same way that my partner folds clothes. And she's said to me a few times, would you like me to teach you how to fold clothes properly? And I just don't have any desire to learn how to fold clothes like that. I just like the way that I do it. And so I do it my way, and she does it her way. And that is what works for us. So it's also about finding that place where, you don't have to do everything together. You don't have to create everything together. You can still do what works for you within a relationship. Um, yeah, what else? There were so many things that I wanted to talk to you about. And then when I start talking, some of it goes away and some of it's there. So, yeah, it would be interesting to know as well. I would like to know from you guys. It's like, what comes up for you in relationship, and what are some of the things that you'd like to know more about functioning in relationship as an ex-person. And yeah, let me know, what are some of your challenges, what are some of your successes, and what would you like to have as a different possibility with relationship as an X-Men. I'd love to hear more, and I'd love to talk more on this topic. Um, so let me know in the comments, and yeah, I'll address them. Susan's actually said, what about working with an X-Men? Yeah, I mean, I work with many X-Men in my business, creating in access consciousness, and we all function very differently. But it's like, I would say, you know, for my business, we don't have very many meetings, and often when we do have meetings, we're like, okay, what are we going to talk about? Because we're all aware of everything that's going on all the time anyway, and so the requirement for sort of like normal communication is just not really there. Okay, so that's just one different way that we function. I've also worked with non-verbal autistic kids in different roles, and working with them, it's like it's really been this place of, like I spoke about before, finding what is it, how is it that they communicate, and how can I receive what they're communicating to have the most ease. Because especially when they don't talk and you're so used to receiving feedback and communication in that way, you have to start to look at, like, okay, so if this isn't the way that um, we can communicate, how else can we communicate? How else can you show me the information of what it is that you would like, what you would like to create, and how can we work together to achieve this? So for me personally, that was a really created a lot of awareness, and it was really an awesome experience. Um, Someone has also asked, I would love to know more about how I can have fun relationships as an X-Men. Uh, well, it's a good question. The first thing I would say is start to ask for it, and maybe start to look for someone who is a little bit different to who you would normally choose. One of the things is we tend to choose, who we're attracted to, or which is great. Attraction's awesome, but what you also want to look for is like, okay, is this someone that I can really get along with and have fun with? And if you want to find someone that you're not necessarily gonna have to like prove yourself to or anything, it's like someone that's gonna um, be grateful for you. You're gonna be grateful for them, and you're gonna have this place where it's like you can create for the fun of it, and you'll know. Okay, if you start to ask for it, you'll be aware of that energy when it comes up, and you'll know when to choose it and when not to choose it. Uh, so Susan's also asked, what about deal and deliver? If the person is not sure what she requires and what she is saying doesn't match what is showing up in her life, don't really get how that applies right now. What about deal and deliver if the person is not sure what she requires and what she is saying doesn't match what is showing up in her life? Oh, okay. I mean, one of the things you want to get is that, like, with an awareness of energy, you're going to have a lot of things that people say. It might even be someone that you've been with for a really long time, and they say something and it doesn't match an energy of what you're aware of or what is actually true in that situation. Sometimes it's just being in allowance, okay? And then other times it's like asking a question, asking them, well, is this really what you would like to create, or is there something else you're aware of? Is there a different possibility available that you haven't yet considered? Someone also asked, how do you focus on one thing when you're aware of all things, ways, outcomes, etc. at the same time? That sounds like a conversation for ADD, which is, where you can have your awareness on a whole bunch of things simultaneously. What we're told about ADD is that it's a deficit disorder, an attention deficit disorder. But that's not actually true. As someone who has ADD, you actually have a capacity to be aware of multiple things simultaneously, and you can spread your awareness out and have your attention on all of it. So it's not about focusing on one thing, it's about shifting your awareness onto different things as they come up and as they're available to create with. Sex and relation in an X-Men relationship. I will talk about that another time. That's a big topic, not one that I have time for right now. But Susan also asked, what about creating together outside of the relationship? So X-Men tend to be fiercely independent, while also wanting someone to support them. So sometimes, you have to be the one who's willing to go, you know what, I think you should go and do whatever you need to do, and I'll be here for you. And if there's anything you need, you let me know. Then you also want to be in question of, okay, so is this something that we can create together? Would this contribute more if we did this together? Or would this contribute more if you did this alone or if I did this alone? Because you got to get that not everything, just because you're in a relationship doesn't mean you have to create everything and do everything together. Okay? So, creating more in relationship, it should be that the person contributes more to your life and that your life is greater by their presence in it. Doesn't mean you have to create everything together, and just be in question with it. Okay, is this going to create more with this person involved? Is this going to create less? And don't judge it. It's just what is right now, and be willing to ask again. And yeah, you can have a lot of fun. You can create a lot, and I am going to leave it there for now. And it seems like it's a popular topic, and people have lots of questions. So we'll pick it up again on another live, and we might even do a class on it at some point. Thank you so much for watching this week's Exponentialize Live, and yeah, look forward to seeing you all soon. Thank you, my friends. Bye.